gentlemen.
What do you want?
I hope you enjoyed that cheese sandwich, because it might be your last. Same with you, Fish. I hope you're enjoying taking a video of me, taking a video of you, taking a video of me, because this might be our last.
Hoorah!
Everybody had a camera. And if they didn't have it when they got there, by the time they left, it was there. And that's why we got so much video. There's sometimes even in firefights, you know, somebody would pull out their camera, stick it on a ledge, and just, you could hear what was going on. You may not be able to see what was going on, but you could hear it. You could hear guys yelling and radio conversations and stuff like that. Nobody, you know, told us we really couldn't, so we did.
Crooner!
Yes?
Crooner, what time is it? Oh yeah, get some!
First Sergeant, read the final roll.
Staff Sergeant Anthony L. Goodwin, 1st Platoon, Lima Company, 3rd Battalion, 25th Marines, killed in action, 8 May 2005, in New Ubaidi, Iraq.
I don't really talk to many people about what happened.
Corporal Dustin A. Durga.
Things aren't the same anymore. Everything's just kind of dead. A lot of things aren't interesting to me anymore.
Killed in action, 8 May 2005, in New Ubaidi, Iraq.
I'm starting to think that it's not important. That they know what we went through.
Lance Corporal Wesley G. Davids, 1st Platoon.
I don't think it'll ever be the same.
3rd Battalion, 25th Marines.
I don't think anybody that goes to Iraq and does what we do, or had done, is ever the same.
PFC Christopher R. Dixon, 1st Platoon, Lima Company, 3rd Battalion, 25th Marines, held in action, 11 May 2005, in Ramana,
I talked to the 2 Marines from my school. One said that he had never fired his weapon when he was over there, and the other said he might have fired it once. And he said, don't worry about it, you're a reservist, you're gonna get sent somewhere out of the way where you can't do any damage and you can't do any harm, you know, and you're just gonna guard something, or you might walk around the desert for a little while.
I was just thinking, you know, we're gonna get stuck on the wire somewhere and just be pulling watch the whole time and not see a damn thing. We'd probably sit around, run some patrols, and eat food and get fat.
Say hi to our new humble home.
Look the bottom of his foot to the top of his toe for $5. Go. $5. Go, do it. Do it. Do it.
Do it.
Is that the shower? Stand in the water. The view from our balcony.
Haditha Dam, is built by the Soviets, and it's large, it's cavernous, it's industrial. There's bats that live there that fly around all over the place. But at the same time, it's home. And it's producing electricity, about 30% for the country of Iraq. The Azerbaijanis control the wire. They're providing our security. There's Iraqi workers that come in to work there. And then you've got us, you've got the grunts there. And we launch out of that place all the time to do different missions all up and down the Euphrates River.
Yeah, we're getting ready to head out on another nice and not exciting patrol through South Dam Village, where we will probably discover Jack and get eaten up by millions of bugs. But it's all in good times. So that's why we do it. That's why we're here.
We did a lot of little missions, little patrols and stuff like that at first, just to get us started, I guess. Probably our first big missions going in and clearing Haditha. You've never been in a city like this. All of a sudden, the streets aren't straight. They're curved, and there's little nooks and crannies. There's walls around everything. Not only do you have to get in the outside gate, but now you got to get in the inside.
Come on, put the muscle into it.
Oh, there's nothing.
Before anybody got hurt, it was really exciting and almost fun. It's like a video game.
Oh, got it.
It's the most exciting thing you'll ever experience. It's the most fun thing you'll ever experience when you get in a firefight. It's the biggest adrenaline. There's no drug in the world that could ever jack you up like that. So in the beginning, it's the best thing ever. It's awesome. You want it every day. And then once, the bad stuff starts happening, and you'll have some of the worst days of your life.
Take a video.
Before we left for training, Durg and I would always hang out, on campus at OSU and, go to parties and everything like that. He was just always crazy. He'd just do the crazy stuff. Jump in bushes and make me laugh all the time. And that's why I liked him. He was just a great guy to hang around with.
How are you? Hi. Too much food.
Our mission was to disrupt the insurgents from coming over to this area across the Euphrates called Romana, where no one has been. No coalition forces have really been. Right there, you've got the Syrian border. You can see Syria. You can see the town over on the other side of the border.
You had to drive by this town of New Ubaidi to where the army was building a bridge for us so we could get across to the other side. Ubaidi wasn't in the plan at all. Wasn't even briefed.
Everything was flowing smooth till we got close to the river. And once we started getting impacts of mortars and machine gun fire, we had to identify the threat. because if we bypassed it and we left our flanks and our rear exposed, they could have literally, you know, wiped us all out.
Basically, we dismounted from the tracks under fire. We ran to our sectors in the town, and we started clearing houses.
I hear gunfire.
It was just chaos. You could hear the rounds going off, armor-piercing tracer rounds, and you could see them just deflecting off the house.
The town was just going nuts. There was small arms fire everywhere. I mean, these guys were crazy. You would see a Cobra swoop down over the town, and they would shoot at the damn Cobra.
Staff Sergeant Goodwin, he's walking up the middle of the road like nothing's going on, you know? He's got his American flag, you know, bandana draped around his neck. He's just like George Patton or something, you know? And at the time, I'm like, this guy is crazy, you know? I looked at him, and he's like calm as could be, so it eased my nerves a lot.
All right, we've been in firefights all day. As you can hear, we just got word there's 4 of our first squad wounded. One of our docs, we don't know about the other 3. Sounds like some of the team leaders. We're all freaking pretty pissed off, and it's getting pretty dark. And other than that, we're gonna try and make it out of here in one piece tonight.
My squad was on the house, and we were just pretty much ordered to stay put. You could hear the rounds going off, and they didn't quite know what was going on at first, and that's when you knew something was. I got a bad feeling after that.
We were about a quarter of the way through the town. The sun was starting to go down a little bit. A lot of the fighting that we were hearing was tapering off, and it sounded like it was moving further back, and we weren't engaging anymore. We weren't seeing much.
We were on what was definitely the last house of the day, about to kick the door in. And they opened up on him with a machine gun.
Lance Corporal West kicked in the door, and he got shot in both legs. And then Durga turned and got shot in the back with an armor-piercing round.
His face was completely gray, and his eyes were kind of open and fixed, and I wasn't sure if he was alive or not. We tried to get a pressure dressing onto his wound, which all we could do was hold it on there.
Just hearing things on the radio was just a shock, because I've never heard something like that before. And all I could do was just pretty much tell my squad from what I heard on the radio what was going on. And then it just seemed to keep going on. The squad was still going in, under fire.
We hit each different room, cleared all the rooms. It was an empty house, and there's where the stairs go up to the roof, there's a small closet, short one, like 3 feet high, whatever.
I just started looking at like this closet and just thinking something is off about this closet, you know. And so I shot some rounds and stuff through the wall in the closet, you know, in case there's anybody in there. Staff Sergeant Goodwin opened the door to the closet.
There was a guy waiting for him underneath there, and he fired a burst at Staff Sergeant Goodwin, and it was coming upward, and it got him, and he went down.
The way he was laying, it just wasn't quite close enough to like go out and grab him and pull him out without getting shot. I regret that to this day, that I didn't make more of an effort than I did, but I tried to get as close as I could to him, and I tried to kind of whisper to him, you know, where are they? And he couldn't even really move. He just kind of moved his hand like that. And then, so I was like, well, I don't even know what that means. Nobody really wanted to leave. Nobody wanted to leave his body there. They didn't want these guys to get away. They wanted to figure out something to take these guys out and get Staff Sergeant going on. But they told us they were going to drop the jets were going to drop a bomb, so we got it. They made us leave.
They dropped that, but I guess it missed. It landed out in the open area, a little bit away from the house, and didn't do a whole lot of damage to it. So the next morning, they fired some small rounds, and then they went in to recover Staff Sergeant Goodwin's body.
And so the next day, they took us out into the desert. And Gunnery Hurley came over to all the tracks. And, you know, he said that look in his face. And you pretty much knew what he was going to say. And you just got that feeling, you know. And he said, quote, well, Durga didn't make it. And that was probably the toughest thing to deal with. I'm sorry.
Too much too soon.
I've been in that bar more than I've ever been in the bars in my life. I'm not a bar person, I never have been. But I don't go there for the, quote, bar part of it. It's the social part of it. Being able to talk to his friends, again, you know, laugh, listen to music. That's my support. That helps me get through. I have said, you know, why? How many thousands, 160-some thousand troops over in Iraq, and you think to yourself, what are the chances that would be my son? No, it doesn't seem fair. It's been difficult. It's always there. I mean, it never goes away. You might not think about it every minute, but it's always there. It's always something.
Christmas. And it's going to be different without Dustin being here, obviously, but I know he would want us to celebrate Christmas in the way that we always have, so. He was all boy. I mean, loved his G.I. Joes, loved football, loved his trains, cars, trucks. And he, you know, as a little kid, he always said he was going to be either a soldier or a fireman, and he became both.
Last Christmas, Dustin was with us, both Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. And that didn't always happen. I remember a very special time in the morning, Christmas morning. I got up, and Bob had gotten up, and Dustin was still sleeping, and I was making breakfast, and I couldn't figure out where Bob went. And I went into the side bedroom, and he and Dustin were laying in bed hugging. And that was a wonderful, wonderful thing to see. And I just left them there and said, I'm making breakfast, and just take your time.
I had walked in the room, and it just took me back to when he was a little kid on Christmas morning. And I just, he was wrapped up in the blankets, and I just laid down next to him and gave him a big hug and patted his head. And I'll cherish that moment till my death. It really meant a lot.
Our gracious and loving God, we thank you for the beauty of this season, the joy that surrounds us, the gift of your Son, our Lord Jesus Christ. As we pray, as you taught us to pray together, our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
One thing I don't wonder about is whether he's in heaven. And that was my biggest fear when he died, that I would never have that assurance. And it's the farthest thing from my mind now.
For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
Bob and I we're not on the same page on that. I think he believes differently that, You know, in his mind, Dustin, it was his time, and he was ready to go, almost like it was a good thing. But I don't believe that. I mean, I believe that, you know, he was taken much too young, and he had a life to live, and maybe it's just selfish on my part, but I wanted to be there to see him live it.
Tracks are the worst modes of transportation I would ever recommend to anybody. It's like somebody running a jackhammer up your ass, pretty much. You're sitting on a metal bench, maybe that much padding, and you're hitting rocks, you're hitting everything the desert can offer. And then if you're not sitting down, you're standing up providing security, and now you're slamming your fingers on the edge, falling over when we start hitting hills and everything. You're catching exhaust because the genius who invented tracks put the exhaust pipe right next to your head, so everything's blown in your face. No air conditioning. Usually your water's on top and it's already boiling hot by the time you need it. Inside's full of flies and stinky Marines. I mean, it's no fun.
I'm doing security, so I'm standing up, and I can kind of see around everywhere. And it's like this little village, you know. And we're driving along, and as we're driving, you know, you see all these like families out in their yards, and they're all waving at us, and these little kids are out playing, and they're jumping around, and everybody seems to be happy that we're there. So I remember getting like a real good feeling. I was like, all right, that's a really good sign, because you always hear that, you know, if you see kids playing, nothing's gonna happen. And all of a sudden, I was looking around, and I started like, oh wait, there's no more people around. I didn't have my goggles down like I was supposed to, and I remember pulling my goggles down over my eyes. I was looking for my gloves. They're like fire-resistant gloves. I was looking for those, and I was like, and I remember I left them in my, pack on the side of the track. So just a little bit after that, you know, all of a sudden, boom.
First squad's track just hit a freaking mine. As you see, it's in flames.
I mean, there were rounds cooking off, they were flying out of there. And I ran around and I saw Lance Corporal Camp standing there.
I got thrown back into the track, landed on my back, like inside of the track. And I just remember standing up, and my hands and face are on fire. And just being like, just kind of freaking out. I just started hitting myself in the face with my arm, you know. And I got my face off really fast, off fire. And then I'm trying to get my hands out. I'm going like this, and hitting them. And they wouldn't go out for a little while. And it's kind of, I don't know, it was really nasty, you know. And just looking around, and I see Sergeant Bala standing up, and he's just kind of like this.
Everything was completely black. I couldn't see, and I started to feel the heat coming from the fire that started instantly. And I started feeling around for the emergency latch released for the ramp. The latch opened. It was kind of like an avalanche, you know, bodies falling out through the troop hatch. And when I rolled over and looked up off of my back, the next person I saw coming out was completely on fire.
I remember hearing PFC Dixon yelling to me from inside the track, you know, can you help me, you know. And I kind of crawled in, picked myself up, crawled in, and I'm staying really low because there's, you know, ammunition's popping off and explosions going off and stuff, so I'm trying to keep really, really low. And, you know, I'm pretty scared, but I'm just thinking, you know, this kid, it's got to be a lot more scared than I am. And, you know, and I had known Dixon. He was in my fire team originally. I always kind of looked after him and stuff because he was pretty young and everything. Pretty much younger than just about everybody else. I remember talking to him, I'm like, listen, I was like, because my hands were all fried up and the skin's all falling off and my hands, and I was just like, listen, I was like, I'm pretty weak right now. I was like, so you gotta help me get you out. I was like, 'cause I can't do it by myself. And he's just like, all right. Getting almost out of the track now. I'm pulling as hard as I can, and all of a sudden, it's like a little explosion. And it kind of blew me back. And I got up again, and I'm grabbing anything I can, his clothes, his flak jacket. I'm trying to grab it, pull him by his helmet at one point. And I'm trying to talk to him, and he's not responding anymore. Turned jolly and basically grabbed me and started pulling me off out of the way.
The helicopters just kept coming and coming. I mean, there was a mass casualty. You know, emotionally it was just draining because, you know, you find out that Ivy was alive when he got put on the bird, but then, at least that's what I heard, that he was alive, but just barely, and then he ended up not making it. David's was alive when he left, and you found out he didn't make it. And you find out, like, Lance Corporal Grant had just gotten moved to first squad, so he would have normally been on our track. He was on the other track, you know, so that bothers you. PFC Dixon, I mean, that kid was just fresh out of high school.
Monday, 1:49 p.m.
Hey everybody, this is Chris. Just calling to tell you guys that I'm doing all right and I'll be all right. We're all right. So, and love you all and miss you very much. So, I'll watch you as much as I can and try to get a hold of you as much as I can. I love you guys. Bye.
I got up on a Friday. I took off and went to the store to get more things for a care package. And as I came back, pulled in the driveway, there was no van out front. There was nothing here. I had no clue Marines was here in our house. The neighbor lady came out and she said, I was getting the stuff out of the truck. And she said, Becky, you need to come in here. And I said, what's wrong? And she just had me around the shoulders so tight. And she said, you need to come in here. And I said, is it Chris? She said, you need to come in here. Dave was standing at the door. He was crying. I walked in, and there was a Marine to the top of the steps. There was 2 Marines here in the living room. And when I walked in, I said, not Chris. And he said, yes, ma'am, I'm sorry to inform you. But they had told Dave that they wouldn't leave until I had come home from the store to tell me the news. They said if it takes 2 hours, we'll stay here. Because Dave says, I can't tell her that news. And that he made him take the van down the road to where I wouldn't see it when I pulled in. This still is his room. And it's, you know, he's gone, but it's just, I can't put everything away right now. I'm not ready for that. And I feel close to Chris in here. That's why I haven't taken anything down. Not yet. It might not never get changed. Not for many years. But I come in here and this is his stuff. You know, it's where he got to in 17 years before he left for the Marines.
What are you in the mood for?
Oh, it's your deal.
How much money do you have? We met in 2000, and we were both living in the same dorm at Ohio State. just happened like that. So 5 years later, we're still together. Yeah. I know you love to shop, Mark. Get excited.
I actually got back into the States in May, but I was in the hospital. She came down and see me when I got there.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't look so hot when she first saw me.
I thought you looked good, you know? I mean,
Well, I
we're
guess for what
almost
you were
dying, yeah.
expecting.
I usually stick with the big
Big
earrings.
earrings?
I love big earrings.
Which would be, with your hair down, would be very nice.
Yeah.
And then you could still, I mean, we have a lot of
We've had our ups and downs, but him, you know, coming close to dying made me really realize what's important in life, you know, and that's, you know, your family and your loved ones. You know, things are meant to happen, and I think we're meant to stay together even though everyone thinks we're crazy.
Get married. I don't know.
We haven't made any arrangements yet because he's still finishing school and I just graduated, and, you know, college students were broke, so. But we're just gonna take it step by step.
You like it?
Probably get married in the next year, settle down, have kids, and hopefully we want kids. Look at the baby clothes, so cute. Are you hungry?
Well, for a while there, right after Matador, I was paranoid. I did not want to get back in a track. I thought about Ubaidi, about, you know, assaulting houses. I remember going over it and going over it and going over it, and what would I do? I mean, and the only answer I came up with is probably the same thing those guys did, because they didn't know.
It was pretty scary because you really don't know what to expect. You could clear 1,000 houses, but you never know what's in that one. God is righteous in whatever he does. And I didn't know why that happened, but I knew that he did. And when it's your turn to go, you go.
You know, part of me wants to say, you know, God has a plan and everything will work out for the best. And then part of me says, things don't always work out for the best. Things just happen.
The primary mission was that different towns and different locations in the late night, there were cell group meetings that may or may not be occurring. So we were to work our way into a town during the dark hours and conduct a coordinated search of that area. The dogs in country, people may kind of snicker and laugh at it. The dogs are vicious. I would probably rather cross paths with a bear than an Iraqi dog. Well, this dog was awakened by a squad of Marines walking right next to it. So it panicked and attacked. I was standing maybe 5 feet from the Marine when he shot the dog. He had no choice in the matter. That kind of woke up the neighborhood, I think.
As I understand it, the squad was out in the middle of the street, and when the firefight broke out,
First thought was, we gotta get out of the street. Sergeant Winberg's squad was just behind me. That building there, clear it.
it didn't matter where we were at or what we were doing or how bad it looked at the time, he was always on top of things. He was Superman. If the world was falling apart, he could hold it together just by his mere presence. The only thing I knew was it probably took a whole army to take him down. But it was a coward behind a door.
I mean, it could be that this thing was something that was nothing more than a dog. And these guys didn't know who was out there killing their dog. And they didn't even know, they might not have even known it was U.S. Marines out there or U.S. forces. They might have just thought somebody shot their dog and they shot through the wall to protect themselves. Who knows? I do know one thing. Out of all the firefights and all the engagements over there, it's the only time I know of with 2nd Platoon that the people we fought that morning were only Iraqis.
The Iraqi people really don't care whether we're in control or the insurgents are in control. And it's really frustrating to know that, okay, I'm here in your country in your town, risking my life for basically for you. And you don't want to help me in any way.
So our next big mission, about, I don't know, the day before, they walked up and said, hey, we're getting some Iraqi special forces, and you're going to be their handler. And I'm like, their what? They're like, their handler. You're going to get like 4 or so Iraqi special forces. And I'm like, okay. I don't speak Iraqi.
You know, at first I didn't want to, I was like, I don't even want to do this. I don't want to be here. I'm not, we're not with Lima Company.
They just looked like they grabbed him off the street and handed him an AK and said, here you go, buddy, go fight a war. And I'm like, great, can I trust these guys? Are they going to be bad guys? We go into this town and go to knock on a door, and I go to step up and, knock on the door, and the first thing that they do is push me back. We were doing like mass searches for looking for weapons. They went to certain spots, other things they would just completely not even check. Looking in a freezer and digging through to see if there's weapons stored underneath all the meat and vegetables and stuff. Going out and digging through stuff in the backyard, stomping up and down on the floors to see if they're hollow. Just all kinds of weird stuff. And bam, when they're done, they'd look at me and go, good. And out the door we go. They knew what they were looking for. They knew. It's their country. One of them came up with a CD player. Some Marine gave it to him, and he wanted to know if I could burn him some Britney Spears. So I had to dig through the archives, but I found some Britney Spears. They liked the hip-hop music, rap, and they weren't too into country music because they said it was too slow. But when I started playing the hip-hop stuff, they'd be like, oh, yes, good.
It's good?
It's good.
Yeah. Once we started to get more on a personal level with them, we started to give them all nicknames. We called one guy, we called him Beavis because he looks like Beavis from Beavis and Butthead. We called another guy Old School because he looked like he was 90 years old.
And I would learn about them, they were married and how many kids they had, how many wives they had, if they had any more than one. And then the rest of the time we would just joke around, Even though they were speaking Arabic, I was starting to pick up on some of the phrases, and they wanted to learn English, so I was teaching them, I was teaching them good, wholesome American English. Somebody else was teaching them to cuss. I don't know who that was, but it wasn't me.
We'd get a lot of flack from some of the guys. I can't believe you guys hang out with these people. These are Iraqi people, but we go out with them on patrols. We leave the wire with them. We're out there, and if something goes down, these guys have our back, and we have theirs in the same thing. So, to me, every one of those Iraqi National Guardsmen that was willing to do that made up for 100 of the civilians who just didn't care, because that's a civilian who is taking action. He's trying to do something. He cares about the country.
Pretty much just going straight back down the hill.
This is my phone door.
I think it is a stress relief. I think it's a healthy stress relief too. I'm just shooting at targets. I can't think how many rounds I put down range with the Marine Corps. So it's just, and it's also one of those things. You just get back from Iraq. We carry a weapon with us all the time, and it's I don't know.
And the other thing is, it just keeps you in practice. The more you shoot, the better you're going to be at it when you actually get to the range. So, and like I said, it's a stress relief. It's kind of like hitting a golf ball. You picture your boss's face on a golf ball and just smack it all over the golf course. You don't care where it goes. You just keep hitting it. So, I'm not saying that I'm shooting my boss or anything, but I haven't seen my boss in years.
That one got away from me a little bit.
It's my favorite thing to do is shoot.
Who's going next?
The company went up to Operation Spear in Karabla. I wasn't to the stage, at that point where I just wanted to go murder everybody. But I knew that place was full of them foreigners, and I knew that they would come out, and I wanted to be a part of that.
We were told our mission was to find evidence that foreign fighters were coming in.
We had to go on a long track across the desert to get to this place, and we stayed off of the roads because they're all mined and there are IDs on them and so forth. But when we got there, they were firing off these line charges. It's almost like a fire hose with a rocket on the end of it. It shoots through the air and it drags this line charge behind it. When it lands, it blows up, and what it does is it blows all the mines and all the bombs out of the way.
Whoa, damn. Hey, they're detonating.
And that was our signal to launch into the attack.
Helicopters were strafing the city with their guns, and so, already you hear explosions starting off, and they're telling us, your rules of engagement have changed. Anybody that's in the city is bad. We're using tanks, we're using the Trax 50 cals. We're blowing through walls. We're not using front doors.
Stay back.
We also had intelligence that there was lots of car bombs, so we were authorized to take out any car on the road.
I hate to say it, we blew that city to pieces. I was with the Iraqis. Those were my guys. I mean, my squad for 5 months was my Iraqis. We found a lot of weapons, AKs and RPGs. We were running up the middle, and we started taking fire. 4 insurgents run across. They're over by the mosque. 2 of them get taken out by Kilo 3-2 across the way. And we know we wounded one of them, and we thought he was in the mosque.
To go inside a mosque, it's pretty big medicine. Like, you gotta have some higher up saying that it's all right. And so we called up to higher. We said, are we cleared to go in?
I get a call on the radio from Major Tolan. He says, hey, I need you to bring the Iraqis up here. We're gonna assault the mosque.
You good? Let's go.
We go in. I step foot inside and let them do all the sweeping. We find nothing inside.
I was looking around the outside, around the courtyard, and a couple Iraqi Freedom Guard, they're saying something back and forth, peeking around this corner, and I walk around the side, and there's a guy under the tree laying there with an AK in his lap. I thought he was dead, so I start walking up to him, and as I walk up, he cocks his leg and he aims in on me, and so I start shooting him, and then the 2 Iraqis just unload on this guy. That was the closest I'd been to an insurgent. From me to you was about how close we were. And after that, then you get hit with the reality like, man, I could have just got shot right there.
On those 2 individuals, the one in the mosque and the one over in this alley that Sergeant Hoffman's squad killed, we found, lots of money on them. They were loaded for bear. They had more ammo than you can shake a stick at. They had drugs on them and grenades and everything else.
And we found an ID from Syria, and that's what we came up there to prove, was that Syria was pretty much not controlling the borders. They're letting people come in. And so we've got pretty good evidence that there's foreign fighters in these towns.
You know where we're at? Just go north up the road, hang a left after the mosque, and when you see the human leg in the road, that's where we are. Yeah, okay, good to go. Blue 6 out.
What's this?
I gotta find somebody to play Santa Claus tomorrow.
Watch out.
Hey, Sergeant Demers, you wanna go play Santa Claus tomorrow?
I want to go play Santa Claus tomorrow?
Yeah.
Where at?
Sunbury.
What time?
13 to 17.
They got a suit for it, sir?
Hey, see if you can find somebody, Sergeant Demers. You know, I love the snow, I love the cold, but this year I just can't get used to it. You know, I walked out the door this morning and the first thing in my mind was, at least it's warm in Iraq. It's like 8 degrees outside. I'm like, you know, it'd be nice to have some sand right now.
When we were over there, you could talk to somebody, you could say a few words, they knew what you wanted, and then you could get it accomplished. Here, you got to expect it to be a lot slower pace.
You know, you're with your girlfriend, it's like, all right, I'm hungry, let's go to dinner. It's like, okay, and then 2 hours later, well, she's still putting makeup on, and, you know, it just drives me up the wall.
I just need to find somebody to play Santa Claus tomorrow.
I'm leaving on a jet plane. I don't know when I'm going to be back again.
Lima's legacy from their deployment is going to be that we lost a bunch of people and not everything that we did over there. And yeah, it was important that we lost a lot of people, and those people need to be remembered. They do. But our accomplishments as well, because they were their accomplishments too. They should be right there side by side.
You know, Barwana was like Wild Wild West.
That was nasty.
But you know, we were there like a few times cleaning it up, and now there's a huge line of people going to vote. And they said a statistic on one of the big news channels that Anbar in the last election had 10% voting, and this election had 75%. And it's like that, the time between that election was us, you know?
I mean, from 10 to 70%, that's a huge jump. I mean, we couldn't really ask for much more than that. I mean, Americans don't vote at 70%.
The insurgents had put out the word that anyone coming into heat would die a fiery death. So when it came down that we were going to go into heat, yeah, there was some concern. The insurgent network had support there, major support. Money, they would hide them. They would broadcast messages for them over the loudspeakers from the mosques. So they had a major support network in heat, and we had to shut that off.
They had IEDs, improvised explosive devices. One way into town, they had like 14 or 17 or something like that along the road going into town. And we went in there, and there wasn't a whole lot of shots fired, wasn't much of a fight.
So far up to that point, in all of the operations that we had conducted, we had swept and pushed. So in other words, we swept through the city, cleared every house, cleared every yard, cleared every chicken coop, and then once we were done and we felt good about it, we would push on to conduct another operation or back to our base to refit. For this one, we did not. We did a sweep and hold. We held operating bases inside the city of Heat, and we conducted patrols, security patrols, safety patrols, whatever you want to call them, and ensured that the people knew that 325 was going to be there and we were there to stay.
What'd they say, there's like 130,000 people in that town, something like that. And then, you know, we're out there patrolling it at all hours. I wouldn't say it was tense. I wouldn't say it was peaceful, you know.
Walking through the streets of the marketplace. This place is insane because there's way too many people and there's no reason we should be here. But we're doing it anyways.
We weren't going to allow the insurgents to take the city back. We weren't going to allow them to influence the Iraqi citizens anymore. And then that's when they started coming back in. They didn't want to just walk away from the city. They had caches, they have weapons, they have communication assets in that city that they did not want to give up.
They started creeping back and sneaking in and setting in explosive devices on the roads.
Yeah. All right. And people wonder why I hate this country. It's because of this right here. Somebody tried to blow us the up.
The insurgents use the IDs because they can't fight us toe-to-toe. It's their only means in which to actually bloody our nose, per se.
Anything could be an IED. Anything. And you do one of two things. Either you can freeze and do nothing and pray to God that, you're not standing on top of the thing, or you can go out and carry out your mission.
On that particular day, they were on their way back from a 2-hour patrol. They had gone out to our furthest limit, and they were making it back. They were on the backside of the mosque. And there was an explosive device right behind the mosque against the fence line. The wires went through the wall and led back to the mosque.
When the ID detonated, it immediately killed an Iraqi soldier, and the fragmentation also struck 2 other Iraqi soldiers, then also Corporal Foote and Doc Youngblood.
Within 5 minutes, I was at that position. We stopped the bleeding. I thought we might be able to save his leg and his foot. And he was giving me advice as the corpsman. Gunny, you're touching in the wrong place. I'm like, look, just shut up, And his last words to me were, hey, tell the guys I will be back. Don't get another corpsman for the platoon. I will be back.
Everybody's worried about Doc Youngblood until we hear that he's been stabilized and that he's going to be okay. However, he's going to lose a foot. Feeling in the platoon was, all right, awesome. He's alive, he's going home. We get relieved in heat, and we're looking forward to trying to get contact with the Youngblood. Once we get back to the dam, we have a little better communications. And Doc Jenkins says Youngblood died. And I just look at him, and he looks back at me, and I'm like, Doc. And he goes, it's true. He died because of some internal damage from the IED blast.
After I found out Travis had passed, I wrote a letter to his wife. Because not only did he leave behind a young son, she was pregnant with a daughter that she delivered in September. And, I wrote to her and I told her, I know that your son had a limited time with his father. He's a young kid. He's probably 3 years old. And I know that your daughter will never know her father. But I want to tell you what I thought of him as a man. And hopefully when her children get to be an age that they can appreciate it, she'll let them read those letters and know that their father didn't die in vain, that he saved lives, many lives, not just Marines, Iraqis too. And he meant the world to us.
Say thank you. Thank you. Give me 5. Who won the treasure box? Who promised me a star today? What'd you get?
A dinosaur.
Bye.
Every year we go on a camping trip as a family, and no, I wasn't looking forward to camping pregnant, but Hunter wanted to go.
No, hey.
So, July 13th, I flew in, and never left. Because 2 days after I got here, someone came by and told me what happened to Trav. Travis was one of those guys that no one could not like. You had to like Travis. You couldn't get mad at him. And they always talk about his comic relief for the platoon and how if they're ever going to do a movie that Drew Carey would play him. He loved, you know, just being a fool.
Where is Hunter? Where is Hunter?
Hunter, you know, he just wants to make people laugh.
Let's get your pants on. Come here.
He always says I'm hilarious, just like my daddy was.
Hunter. Where is Hunter? Where is Hunter? Hunter, where are you? I'm outside. You're outside, Hunter? Okay, I'm gonna go to the toy store and I'll make sure I don't get anything for you. I'll get something for your sister.
Emma had her days and nights confused for a long time. And, I knew it was bad when I started screaming out for Travis.
What is... This is a storm. When this storm, God gets sing.
I don't even learn how to change a diaper to help me. 5 years old. And I didn't want to do that to him.
We're gonna have fun, right?
I would never take his childhood away from him. And, I love her enough to know that I can't do it by myself right now. So my parents took her for a month, a little over a month. And she'll be back in April. I got a place to stay. I got a 3-bedroom house to rent. And, we're gonna have a place to call home for now. And, we'll be a family again.
Wild animal. You're a wild animal.
Well, I'm not part of it right now, but there's about a firefight about 25 meters off to our left, and it's pretty sweet.
Siegel was a town that we were going to do a coordinated search.
Got one here. Got 2 left this way.
Hundreds and hundreds of times we've done it. And it was not a really heightened threat level.
No one in this room, girl in here. Get anybody in there? Let's put them in here. This room's cleared out. Well, let me clear this.
About halfway through the town, first squad, they come across a house that when Corporal Williams went up to knock on the door, I was told he raised his hand to knock and his hand never struck the door. We heard an initial burst of rounds. Then there was a gap, and just as I was getting ready to say something to my radio man about we need to work our way over towards first squad, numerous rounds started firing. It was a major fight.
Those guys in Sikla, they were buried in them houses pretty good, and they were pretty good at setting the trap, you know, trying to get a Marine down and then, you know, trying to lure people in. You know, supposedly if we took fire from houses now, we weren't going to rush the house. We were just going to pull back and drop it, and that didn't exactly happen.
We had Iraqi wounded as well. And here, shoot, and here. Shot in the face and shot in the arm. We got an Iraqi wounded! We got an Iraqi wounded, shot in the face! I said Iraqi! We got a wounded IA shot in the face!
The firefight had already started with First Squad. First Squad had already been engaged, but we had not yet. Then we heard from the roof that they saw a guy coming at us.
Hey, we got 2 guys! Hey, guys, I can see 2 guys! Where?
They were running away from where Corporal Williams had been killed and running towards us, trying to get out of the city.
Where's in this house right here? Yeah, right in front. Hey, kids, right there!
Be advised, this is 3rd Squad. We had 2 or 3 shooting around into a house where we had 2 guys run into. It doesn't look like there were any Marines in there.
Lance Corporal Lyons was radio operator for our squad, so he was talking to Captain Brown, trying to get an idea of what was going on.
Hey, don't fire 203 in there yet. Hey, Lyons, you see him stick his head out before, right? Yeah, I saw him.
Corporal Hunter, he was a 3rd Squad leader. He said they saw where the enemy went to. The building that we were talking about was a building that was partially under construction. I said, okay. Then what we'll do is, in the after effects of the main gun round, you'll be able to go ahead and take your squad and secure that building. We fired 5 main gun rounds into that building.
Hey, get your rifles up and watch.
At this point, we thought everybody was dead. Nobody could survive a tank shooting through this house that many times, like 3 or 4 times. There's nobody that could be alive. There's an impossibility.
Bring up! Climb into that window right in front of you there.
And there was so much rubble from the tanks knocking the walls down, and the bodies were underneath the rubble.
Hey, that door where we shot the guy's brain splattered on hadn't been cleared yet.
We found a blood trail from where we had shot one of the guys, and the blood trail led out into the yard, and we lost it there.
You got a body?
We were missing one guy, one body. We couldn't find one body.
Myself and Lines went to the left. Someone from Jackson's team said, hey, you know, Payne, you know, he called it the crapper house, you know, watch the crapper house.
Hey, watch that house in the back.
Every other time except for then, I've always been the first man in the door anytime my team has to clear a room, because I don't expect him to do anything I'm not willing to do. But for some reason, Lines was just one step ahead of me. I immediately knew that rounds were hitting the lines, and there was no way possible that I could have made entry to that room.
Corporal Payne came running back around, screaming that Lines was down. And he was my prayer buddy. Me and him were really close, and he just had a baby daughter, Ella. And we really wanted him to get home to see his daughter.
They told the tank platoon commander to run over the wall and knock it over on the enemy that was still inside. When the tank backed up, he was trying to crawl his way out of the debris to get to a weapon, and when he was crawling towards that weapon, he was shot again by at least 3 different people.
You just hear magazine getting emptied into him, another magazine getting emptied into him, and the guy's still kicking and screaming underneath the rubble. His hand's still moving, trying to reach for a weapon.
Later, I found out that in the initial house, they had found vials of adrenaline and some type of a drug that it could have been a crystal meth, a PCP, a cocaine, something that seriously gave these guys a heck of a lot more than a normal human being would function at.
His body wouldn't go into shock. The guy finally just bled out, stopped moving. Those guys don't play around. It's hard to take them down when they don't feel pain.
Hey, baby girl, how you doing? It's Daddy. I'm making this recording here for you because I know your birthday's coming up here. You got about 15, 16 days or so. And I hope that you have fun and you guys have a real big party and everything, and that you get a whole bunch of cool presents. Daddy really couldn't send you too much from over here because there ain't really much I can buy around this place. So I thought I'd draw you up a little picture of you and take a few pictures and make a little recording for you just to say happy birthday and let you know that Daddy loves you very, very much and that he'll be home very soon. Got about, I don't know, 2.5, 3 months. So you just keep being a good girl and helping Mommy out. Daddy will be home before you know it. I'm going to go ahead and stop recording this because I don't really know too much more to say. It's probably a lot of stuff that you don't want to hear nothing about, but you keep being a good girl, and Daddy loves you very, very much. And happy birthday, okay? And I hope you enjoy this, along with everything else that I'm sending. All right? Bye-bye.
He can't control the sauce. He can't control the Control the way he eats it. You can control the sauce.
You don't have... That squad was tight.
Magic dragon.
You gotta have a haircut showing. Keep going.
And frolicked in the autumn mist.
Dyer was just silly. That kid, you know, well, I called him Pigpen because he always looked like, you know, he just rolled out of the mud.
With Cifuentes, I was always getting people coming up to me and saying, man, is that guy yours? What a sharp kid. What a smart guy. And he was, though. I mean, he just kind of exuded it. He was the one in grad school, just smart as a whip, so composed, and he was not foul-mouthed like the rest of us. He was a classy, classy individual.
Can I get a comment? Well, I reckon we knocked on a few doors. How many? I'd say probably more than I can count, maybe 10, 12.
Reed, with his goofy Harry Potter looks, throughout the whole deployment, you know, he was my best friend, and Bernholtz was sleeping above me every night. From the beginning, he didn't swear, he didn't drink, he didn't chew, he didn't smoke, he read his Bible, and we changed him quite a bit, you know.
Hey, what's up, Bernholtz?
What's up, Bernie Mac?
I'm impressed, dude.
You all right?
Hey, we're getting ready to go home in like 2 months. 2 months? Yeah, it's only 2 months. We've been here like 5.
Forever. No, dude, it's not that long.
It's only 2 months.
I hate you. It's not that bad.
It's not that bad.
Come on.
Guys,
please.
I'm out.
Whoa.
What the hell are you doing?
Bertle.
Oh, sorry.
What the Bernie!
I just played.
Oh.
On the 1st, we had a group of 6 snipers that were attached to 325. They were inserted approximately 2 o'clock in the morning. They made their way to their position. We can only assume that they were observed because insurgents ambushed them as they were setting in. Already planned at that time, though, was the operation itself, Operation Quick Strike. The regiment had moved a lot of assets from all around the country into position to conduct Operation Quick Strike, unbeknownst to a lot of the Marines.
On the 2nd, we found out that they had found Bosco's body on the other side of the river.
And now everybody is just out for blood, you know. But we weren't really happy about the way that we were approaching that mission. Basically, we sat there for a day and waited.
We weren't sneaky. They knew we were coming, and we knew they were waiting.
Got up at, I think it was 4 o'clock. Aaron Reed woke me up, popped in a chew together, and went down the tracks. Everybody was sleepy. A little bit before we were about to take off, Major Tolan called down to me and told me we were switching tracks. And I just looked at the guys, I was like, you know, catch you on the flip side. And that was the last thing I said to him.
We got everybody loaded into the different Amtraks. I was in the first one, and I had Sergeant Hicks and my radio man, Lance Corporal Williams. And we were off the road, but parallel to it, and we're driving south.
We were going cross-country in the desert. The problem was, now we have Iraqis with us. And I don't have the lift in my tracks to put their soldiers on board with us, so we have to take their vehicles with us. Well, their vehicles can't go cross-country. We tried it, and after about 15 minutes, their trucks got stuck pretty bad. So we're sitting out there in the desert. I got battalions screaming at me, regiment screaming at them to get inside that town. So my XO calls me up, and he said, hey, tanks cleared that road earlier this morning. So I said, okay. I called the tank company commander up, good guy, you know, trust his opinion. You know, he said, sir, we proofed that road. It's clear for you. I said, roger that. Got an LAR unit sitting right at the intersection. They see no movement, no activity. So I make the decision, all right, you know, with the information I got, let's go down the road.
We got on the road, and we take a right into the city of Barwana, where we were going to get out and start clearing the town. And right after I took that right, probably about, I don't know, 50, 75 meters, maybe 100 meters, there's a massive explosion. It was so big that I thought for sure it had hit my Amtrak, and I called it in immediately. I've hit an IED, I've hit an IED. And I looked back, and I couldn't tell what the hell had happened.
I mean, it was just the most unbelievable sight. I was just like, there ain't nobody alive. And then the first thing that went through my mind was, what squad's that?
We ran over there as soon as we could, and that's, you know, things start to get blurry at that point. The vehicle had been blown up and flipped, and this is a huge, like, 30-ton vehicle. It had been flipped onto its back, and everybody had been blown out in every direction. The carnage of the scene was bad. It's something I'll never forget. And the odd things, it was just, you know, it was really bad.
On the way there, that's when I realized what squad it was, because I found a pack that had a name tape on it, and it was Cifuentes.
I got up on the roof, and I was looking back at the accident site, and I saw the guys go out there with blankets to cover up the body parts, and you know, I went into a room and just started throwing everything around, and then I got up on the roof, and all I wanted to do was shoot anything that was moving. If it wasn't in desert camis, you know, it was going down. And I got up there, I stayed up there, you know, just crying. The closest guys that I've ever had as friends are all dead. When we came back from that mission, everybody still had all their things laying out. My rack mate, Eric Bernholtz, you know, he even had a letter that he forgot to mail before he left. And, you know, I saw that stuff, and I saw people's dirty laundry laying out, and, you know, I just lost it again. It was pretty much, you know, getting kicked over and over and over. And for a while there, everywhere we'd go, I would think that I was seeing these guys. You know, I'd catch a glimpse of someone and say, hey, that's Reed. When I first got back, I was drinking, you know, heavily just to go to sleep. Everything after August 3rd happened so quick, and the next thing I knew it, I'm back home, you know. I'm signing back up for school, and I'm just a regular college kid now. And it's weird, you know, it's weird hopping from getting shot at in the desert to just walking to school. I guess I just feel like I'm not really ready to fit back in to society yet.
You want some 3 extra?
Yeah. Right now, I need to be with people who have the experience. You know, all 3 of us that live in our house are combat vets, and you know, right now, that's what's helping me is having them around, having them close.
Actually, I'm gonna do a San Juan.
Yes. He had a bite. I guess right now, I can't settle with just saying, hey, it's over, you know, one time. I want revenge, and I want to be there, you know, for my friends when they go back. Jason, he asks me all the time, hey, are you sure you want to go back? Are you ready? And, you know, I don't know if I'm ready to go back. But once you're in, you know, it's a family, and especially with us, we're exactly like a family. And I know for a fact, if something happens to my friends over there and I'm sitting back here, I just don't think I could live with that.
First Platoon, Lima Company, 3rd Battalion, 25th Marine Regiment, killed in action in the Anbar province, Iraq.
We lost a lot of guys, a lot of great guys, but it really would have disrespected their sacrifice if we didn't go forward. Where I think that, you know, in the reserves, you're not prepared. You're not prepared mentally a lot of times for combat, to see death. And then even us as a nation, as Americans, you know, we forget that when you go to war, the end result will be somebody or several people dying. And, you know, it's, the only thing we could do was kick him in the ass and keep pushing him. As the missions keep coming, you start wondering, when is your ticket gonna be up? You know, we've fought our way through some of those hellacious places in Iraq at the moment, and it was as if you just wanted to go find whatever HQ is making these decisions and just start smacking people. What more do they want?
He's behind me, we pull him out, and I'm so close to shooting him. But I don't. It's not right. It's not. It'd make me no better than the people we're trying to fight over there. Up to that point, I wanted to stay in Iraq, and I realized that I needed to leave. I needed to get back home and unwind.
We are awaiting the arrival of Lima Company. That is the big reason we are here today.
Just the welcoming was just immense. There's so many people out there on the road. And it took us maybe an hour and a half to get from the airport to our drill center, which isn't very far. Because there's so many people wanting to say, welcome home.
You should have seen the tears of the Marines' eyes when they saw the people with banners and flags. And there were people out there that didn't agree with the war. There were people out there that had lost family members that didn't appreciate what their Marine was lost for. But they appreciated the sacrifices of the Marine unit from Columbus, Ohio. And that said everything to me.
You finally.
The reason the Lima Company has garnered national attention is, of course, the losses that they suffered for those who were killed.
I just feel like the only reason we got all this attention was because a lot of us were killed. And that's how I feel about it. I mean, if we all came back safe, nothing happened, there wouldn't have been anything for us. I'm sure, they would have been proud of us, but we wouldn't have had a parade. We wouldn't have had this, we wouldn't get interviewed. So, I mean, it's I don't know. I don't appreciate this stuff. I mean, I just want people to know about my friends. It's the only way I can do it, so. They're great people. And they died in the most horrifying way. I mean, I know people don't disrespect us. Not at all. But, I just want them to be remembered for what they did, not just because they died.
Staff Sergeant Anthony L. Goodwin, 1st Platoon, Lima Company, 3rd Battalion, 25th Marines, killed in action, 8 May 2005, in New Ubaidi, Iraq. Corporal Dustin A. Durga, 1st Platoon, Lima Company, 3rd Battalion, 25th Marines, killed in action, 8 May 2005, in New Ubaidi, Iraq. Lance Corporal.
First, I think that I really understood is that we ain't here forever. At 18, I thought that same way too, that I'm invincible and that I'm going to live forever. 10 feet tall and bulletproof.
Christopher P. Lyons.
And I walked away seeing men who had only lived for 24 years, 25 years, 26 years, and had already changed the world through the people they had touched and the lives they had touched.
PFC Christopher R. Dixon, 1st Platoon, Lima Company, 3rd Battalion, 25th Marines, killed in action, 11 May 2005, in Ramana, Iraq. Lance Corporal Michael J. Cifuentes, 3rd Platoon, Lima Company, 3rd Battalion, 25th Marines, killed in action, 3 August 2005, in Bawana, Iraq. Lance Corporal Christopher.
I don't want to be mad about anything. I don't have time to be mad about anything. I enjoy waking up every morning. And I just, I feel lucky to be alive. And I guess is how I put it. Everything I do now I'm doing for the guys who didn't come back.
Ready! Ready! 1, 2, 3! 1, 2, 3! 1, 2, 3! 1, 2, 3! 1, 2, 3! 1, 2, 3! 1, 2, 3! 1, 2, 3!
Let's go, let's go! Let's go!
We went through a lot. It's over. It's the past.
Push it, push it!
We want to remember what we did for the new guys to teach them. We want to remember our fallen brothers. But there comes a time when we need to just put that aside. We've got to start training now for the next deployment. And I think a lot of the guys are like, you know, still feeling the, you know, they get over it, and then someone brings it back up, you know, and then they don't want to do that. They want to push forward. I think that's that right there would be great if everybody could understand that, you know.
Come on, a little more. 10. Right there, 14. No doubt in my mind, I would go back to combat with this unit. These guys are Marines, and it doesn't matter if it's a reserve unit or active duty. All the things that we did, no active duty unit could say they accomplished as much as we did.
Recover, move! At ease. Thank you.